Hi, my name is Teven Stovall, and my speech is called Why Abortion is Healthcare. I got pregnant at 15 and considered an abortion. It was a very scary time for me, and I don't think that any woman should ever have to go through that without options. Many of us know that abortion has been a widely discussed topic in recent years. It has been a case to argue over for many years before that, too. The court case Roe v. Wade was an important turning step in women's access to health care. This was a court case in 1973, and it ended with the constitutional protection of abortions. As many of us know, however, that has recently been overturned, meaning abortion is no longer constitutionally protected, leaving the decision up to the states. In this speech, I will give you a few examples of the abortion bans taking women's lives and hurting innocent children. I will explain why I think some people are against it and why I believe those ideas can be biased. Unfortunately, what lots of people don't understand is that the government officials know little to nothing about healthcare, yet we are trusting them to make those decisions for us. For example, lots of states like to add exceptions to abortions, like the life of the mother. This simply doesn't stop the death of many women because doctors are not government officials and they are not trained to read legal documents and pick apart what it all means. This means that instead of doctors being able to do their job and decide when to intervene to save a woman or baby's life, they instead have been known to wait until the woman is close enough to death to help her, and by then it's normally too late. An example of something exactly like this happening is the case of Portia Nugumez. She was a 35-year-old woman with 2 little boys and a loving husband. She miscarried at 11 weeks pregnant. Mourning her baby with her husband in the hospital, bleeding for hours on end, which eventually led to her death. Many doctors have said that this, as well as many others, were completely avoidable by a routine procedure called a D&C. Unfortunately, this procedure is considered an abortion, even when it's life-saving. Cases like this are not rare either, as cited by Lizzie Presser and Kavitha Serena in a Texas Tribune article published November 27, 2024. To name a few people, Gisele Barnica, Amber Thurman, and Nevaeh Crane all lost their lives due to these abortion bans. Every one of these stories are heartbreaking, and every single woman suffered for hours while doctors sat by and watched because they feared for their jobs. For me personally, one of these stories is enough to convince me that abortion is necessary health care. But for many, this is not the case. Many people that are against abortion use their religion to excuse it. But those same people wouldn't make life sacrifices because they did it in their religion, right? I believe religion actually has nothing to do with it. Many people who claim to be religious will only follow certain things they agree with, but then the ones they don't agree with just don't exist. There is a reason that death tolls have gone down since we got more information and more qualified doctors. But now the state governments are telling those same doctors that they can't actually do their job because some people's religion disagrees with it. Many of us know that hospitals have certain regulations and standards to meet. For example, if someone refuses a procedure that would save their lives because it goes against their religion, doctors have to respect that or they could be sued and fired. So, should we make it mandatory that no hospital ever performs that same procedure because it goes against that one person's religion? Many of you would probably say no, right? To put it simply, this isn't a case of wanting to keep babies alive. It's a case of wanting women to suffer more. In most situations, like every single one I mentioned above, there was 0 chance of that baby living. In some cases, the heartbeat was even gone and there was a dead fetus rotting inside of her because the doctors didn't think it was life-threatening enough. And clearly it was. Just look at the history books. Men have been trying to make women less powerful, and this is all this abortion ban is. A way for them to look at women and say, I control your body. Even aside from life-threatening cases, there are cases like Regina's. According to Rachel Scott and more from an ABC article published March 22, 2024. Regina was a 12-year-old girl. She was raped and forced to carry the child and raise it because of it. I simply don't see how any parent in that situation would want their baby to carry a baby. And Regina's mother was no exception. She fought and she tried to get her daughter the care she needed and was refused by her state. The only option available to her was to go out of state, take off work, find a babysitter for her other kids, and find a way to afford all of that and the procedure. Of course, this was not doable as she was a single mom with multiple children. There are more cases like this in many different states, and I see no way to excuse it. So now you know that many women are losing their lives without the help of an abortion, and babies are being forced to carry babies. Healthcare should not be a decision up to the state governments and state government officials who have had no training in healthcare. These decisions need to be made with the doctor and the woman in need only. I hope these facts and examples can convince you that abortion is a necessary part of women's healthcare, and maybe you can become an advocate for women's safety. Thank you for listening.